Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Today we're talking about the Ming dynasty, and don't forget we're doing things a little bit different. So you'll have the questions at the end of the presentation. Also, guys, if you met with me on Google Meet, if you could also let me know so that I can give you credit for that. You know, my memory is not always the best. So, guys, today we're talking about the Ming dynasty. Last time we talked about the Mongols and the way that they ensured the Silk Road. Well, they get thrown off by the Ming Dynasty in 1368. And what it was there was an earthquake, there was a flood, um, I think there was a pestilence. So the Chinese people felt that the Mongols had lost the mandate of heaven and they started to rebel. Um, and so once the Ming Dynasty comes in, the first thing they try to do is get rid of all of anything that resembles the Mongols. And the first thing they get rid of are the foreigners. Remember, the Mongols would always invite the foreigners in. And this Ming dynasty lasted. So, who exactly threw the Mongols off? Well, was a guy named Zhu Yan Hun, joined the revolt against the Mongols as a young man, and later he became the emperor of the Ming. He called himself Hong Wu, which means vast military. Hongwu took four major steps. The first step he took was he moved the capital to Nanjing, which was further south. He reversed Mongol trade policies. He revived the civil service system, and he brought back the Confucian values. Now, Hongwu, as he got older, got more paranoid, and so he became a despot, which we call a tyrant. Okay, and he had about 100,000 people arrested and executed. And he defended his actions that he was enforcing the law. But because he was enforcing the law, people would call him a tyrant. And if he was lenient, then they would call him ineffective. So along comes his son Yongle. Yongle decided to move the city to Beijing in the north. Now I have a question that asks you, where does China move its capital? It's Beijing, okay? Beijing was built to impress, and in the center was the Forbidden City where the palace was. So even today, people go to Beijing and they want to see the Forbidden City. It was built this way to reinforce the idea of the Middle Kingdom. So China called itself the Middle Kingdom, and they called itself that because they believed they were the center of the earth. Now, just because the Ming threw all the foreigners out, that doesn't mean they didn't trade. And so they have what's called tributary. So under the Ming, China shut itself off. Many countries sent tribute to China. Ming traded with Asia and East Africa. The Ming received horses, spices, and silver. Tributary countries received silk, porcelain, and tea. One of the guys that went out with ships, Yongle sent out, and that was Jing Hu. So he sent this guy out from 1405 to 1433. He sent his fleet out to the many tributary countries. He traveled to India, the Persian Gulf, and East Africa. After Yongle died, though, it became illegal to build large ships. The Confucian scholar officials believed China had all it needed. Now, in 1514, the Portuguese arrived in China and refused to pay tribute, but China wanted the silver that the Portuguese had, so they did trade with them after all. And I included a picture of Zheng He with his giraffe. Yes, that's right. Zheng He, when he went to East Africa, was given a giraffe. And so the giraffe actually traveled on his ship with him. So here are your questions. Who will decide when to open the America up? That's from CNN 10. Define the word despot. Where was China's capital moved to when Yongle was emperor? Define the tributary system. Why did Xing lead his maritime expeditions? And why did Confucian officials stop those voyages? So, have a great day.